Probably would help if I unmuted the mic, don't you reckon? I'll get rid of that thing. Okay. That was a fancy timer. I moved the camera a little bit. Still using the old GoPro. I like it. Not that great in low light, I don't think. But I've got this Lumix GH3. I don't know how to use any of this crap and bought all these cables for it. Can't get the damn thing hooked up, so I'm still stuck with this GoPro. But I'm getting kind of used to it, you know? So our mission right now is for me to answer your questions because I feel like it and I don't feel like writing copy. And your questions give me good ideas on what to do next. So they help me as much as it hopefully helps you. So I'll scroll on up here. And this one is a very, very good question. So the question from Nick Rise, I think maybe Nick Reese. I can never pronounce people's names right, by the way. I apologize to everybody whose names I mess up. The question is, with iOS 14 blocking so many things, is it going to make stuff break? Now, he's specifically referencing is intent-based branding going to be changed? That's a method of getting attention and then retargeting people. And if so, and what do you think is going to go on? So the short version of the question is, hey, Apple did some weird stuff, and it's Apple and Facebook aren't getting along right now. What does that mean for the rest of us? I'm translating the question into redneck because that's how I think, is in redneck. So I'm amazed that I haven't seen anyone make content about this, because I got to tell you, it's very good fear-mongering content. The short answer to the question is I don't think it's really going to matter too much to us. I did an abbreviated reading of the actual stuff from Facebook in regards to Apple's messing around and making things be more difficult. And I'm going to summarize by memory. Now, you do need to keep in mind that I tend to drink a lot, but only with great frequency. So I might have forgotten some things here, okay? But this is what I remember from reading it a couple of days ago. Number one, the biggest thing that this is affecting, as far as I can tell, is apps. So if you're advertising apps using Facebook, Apple's operating system is going to really limit the way Facebook can track app installation, app usage, and all that kind of stuff. For most of us, it's kind of irrelevant. So that's pretty good. In terms of tracking visitor behavior, stuff people are doing, here are the changes that I can remember. Number one, you're going to have to probably verify your domain with Facebook. Not that big of a deal. Of course, I've tried to do it and failed, because I was trying to do it myself and I'm dumb when it comes to tech stuff. But there's instructions online for it. You upload a file or something into your website and then tell Facebook where the file is. And they're like, okay, it's really your website. So there's that. That's thing number one. Thing number two is that it's only going to let you, and again, this is by memory, you're only going to be able to track 8 events from your account, I think. So an event, like an opt-in, that's an event, a lead. A purchase, that's an event. A page view, like a click, that's an event. An add to cart, that's an event. I'm not really remembering any other. I mean, there's a lot of other ones, but folks like us, typically direct response people, we don't track more than 8 events anyway. Excuse me, I don't have any water and I'm losing my voice. This is very poorly thought out. So the short answer is, dude, I don't think it's really going to matter too much to us. I think you're going to hear a lot of noise about it. People wanting you to get freaked out. So you'll listen to them. But as far as I can tell, it's nothing new. Facebook and other platforms have been fighting one another forever. What really is, as far as I can tell, not going to be affected is stuff that we do with intent-based branding, which is, okay, if somebody watches a video or engages with an ad or whatever, we can retarget them. And the reason it doesn't look like that's going to be effective is because all of that stuff is occurring in the Facebook platform and is not happening outside of the Facebook platform. Therefore, it doesn't matter what Apple wants to do. They can't really block the tracking of that, as far as I can tell. Now, I am wrong most of the time. So, take that for what it's worth. But, dude, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'm not. You know, I'm probably going to be greatly annoyed by watching people try to frighten you into buying things from them. But I don't think that I don't think it's anything to worry about. All right, this next question is from Nate. I'm going to read the question and then I'll translate it to Redneck. What do you think it would cost on average to get an application filled out if I were to use intent-based branding? I know it's a difficult question. Cheers. So the real question is, and I'm translating again, hey man, I'm selling something expensive and I want people to fill out an application before I agree to talk to them. What's it cost to get a qualified application filled out? And the answer is, of course, everyone's least favorite answer to everything, which is it depends on what you're selling, who you're selling it to, etc. Let's say you're selling marketing stuff to marketers, right? So that's something we can all at least relate to from what we've been exposed to. Generally speaking, you're going to need to spend anywhere between $100 and $300 to get a qualified application filled out. So whenever we build an application funnel for my own business, I expect to spend about $100 to $300 to get, and the key word here is qualified application filled out. So in our process, and I recommend everybody does this who actually talks to people. Time is the only thing we can't replace. So in our process, you got to fill out like what type of business. Do you have a website? Do you run ads? Do you make any money? Do you know we're going to try to sell you something? Are you cool with potentially buying something? And so if they don't answer that right, they're not considered a qualified application. And I don't mean that, in a bad way, like they're not a qualified human or whatever, but you get it, right? So we pay anywhere between $100 and $300 for one of those. But we're very stringent in that process, in doing that. And over time, if you have a big enough warm audience, and if you've been building that using proper branding, then you can skip a lot of steps of the funnel entirely and drive people straight to an application. Now, you have to do this deep funnel. People have to already be very familiar with your brand, so you're usually retargeting pretty heavily here. And in that case, we'll pay under $100 for one all day, and that's pretty cool. So there is that. But then you've invested a lot over time to create that retargeting audience, and it's kind of hard to quantify. So figure $100 to $300 if you're selling in a hyper competitive, overly saturated, super jaded market like marketers. Good question there. Okay, let's see. This is from Nestor Rocks. It's a cool name. I think Bob Marley's middle name was Nestor. I think his full name was Robert Nestor Marley. Random trivia I learned from reading his biography when I was in 8th grade. All right, he says, how do you inspire to create new stuff and trainings for your clients without modeling the new guy? Dude, I don't care what the new guys are doing. I care about what I learned from that guy behind me, Albert Lasker, and from that other guy, man, cameras weird. Anyway, David Ogilvy, and from that guy, Claude Hopkins, and from, you can't see him, but he's over there in the hallway, that guy, Gary Halbert, and Dan Kennedy, and Hard Won Experience. I pay very, very little attention to the new guys, and I'm sorry to be distracted. I'm trying to move my camera properly here. High-tech camera work here. And I'm sure there's a lot of value there, but the statement of the new guy modeling is 100% accurate within the internet marketing community. And, God bless them. I mean, I think they're genuinely trying to help people, etc. But I'd much rather just do what's historically always worked and find new ways to do it using newer platforms and using technology, because it's the fundamentals are what's going to win the game for you. It's just like sports. It's just like boxing. Not that I do that, but I saw it in a movie. That's the building blocks of everything. It's just the fundamentals. So that, and I love what I do. I really do. I like teaching the stuff. I like doing it. It's fun. And when you do it at scale, it's pretty easy to come up with new stuff because you can just document it. Like, dude, check this out. Look what just worked. Maybe you should try it. It's working pretty good. So it's pretty easy. I think what you're probably experiencing, with the new guy modeling the new guy is none of them are actually doing anything. They're not spending a bunch of money on ads, and they're not failing. They're not falling on their face. And it takes that to be able to really teach this stuff, you know? So yeah, that's what you got. Yeah, this is from Kim. If you owed the IRS $140,000, how would you pay it? In whatever capacity they would let me, but I would definitely make every effort to pay it. So hope you get that. Hope you get that taken care of. Let's see. All right, here's a question I get all the time. You've lost everything, and you're starting from scratch. Your goal is to make 100 grand as quickly as possible. You've got 10K to your name. How would you do it? All right, I would, and I advise everyone to do this one chunk. I'll tell you the tactical thing, but here's the strategic thinking. Use what you got, okay? So in my case, I've got a skill set. I can write words and do things that make the phone ring, make people come in the door, etc. So I would keep my $10,000, and considering that was starting from scratch and like literally, I got 4 kids and it's a pretty big bill to take care of them, I'd go out and beat the bushes, man. And I would go to businesses and I'd say, hey, here's what I can do. And I'm willing to do it for you for very little money. And the reason why is because I'm starting from scratch. And I know you're going to do. I know you're going to be happy with this. And if you like it, then keep paying me, and we can talk about charging a little bit more money later on. But right now, I'm just trying to get my foot in the door. And then I would get them customers. And I think the lowest hanging fruit for that, incidentally, is brick and mortar companies. I think there's a massive blue ocean for someone, and it probably won't be me because I don't feel like building the infrastructure to do it. But I think there's a massive opportunity for somebody to go to barbershops, hair salons, restaurants, places that would normally advertise on television, and go to them and then just run video ads on social for very little money, So I would charge $600, $700 a month or something. And then whatever they want to spend, and I would do the targeting and I would manage that, and it would be straight up video views and replace their TV spend with videos on the phone, because you're having the exact same effect for fractions of pennies on the dollar. And I think they would get that increased foot traffic and much greater volume than they would from that TV spend. So that's one of the things that I would probably do, because you got a market that's irrationally passionate, great in number, and easily reached, and that's the small business owner. But yeah, I'd hold on to my 10K though. I'd save that, and I would get rid of all pride, get rid of all ego, and I'd say, man, you know what? This is embarrassing as hell. I have totally screwed up and lost everything. I'm going to do this for you for next to nothing, and if it works, then we can talk about me doing it for you for a little bit more, or just not charge them that much, and pretty good margin on that kind of thing anyway. So we'll see. All right, thank you for the question there. All right, okay, let's see. The question from Jonah Rodriguez is, how do you inspire yourself to create content? Dude, it's fun. So this is this debauchery and food and inappropriate things to talk about on a live stream that all other dudes think about. This is the only thing that I ever think about ever, right? So I'm thinking about business, I'm thinking about partying, I'm thinking about other stuff that all dudes think about, and food. 4 things. That's it. Really limited stuff going on up here. So I don't have to get inspired to create content, because I'm always thinking about stuff, and I'm always working. The trick to getting good at this is to do this stuff all the freaking time. And then you get pretty good at it, and to think the long game. That's the deal. Think long. You think long, you think strong. And so it's never a question of getting inspired to create content. It's, I like it. It's all I do. It's my life. So I wish I had because I think really what that question actually means is, dude, I'm having a hard time creating content. What should I do? And I don't know. It might be you're either afraid of judgment, which I just don't care. I've already had people say horrible things about me and stuff. So I've gone through all of that and it wasn't so bad. So some things that'll stop you is the fear of judgment or whatever. And you're just going to have to get judged and realize that you didn't die from it in order to get over that fear. Another thing that'll stop you is perfectionism. And so you'll just have to pay the price of perfectionism for a while until you're like, all right, screw this, man. I'm just turning the damn thing on, and then you won't have the problem anymore. Or you could just make the decision to just make content now, and that would be very, very good. All right, let's see here. All right, so Debbie says, what courses of yours is a good fit for a very advanced, well-established internet marketer? Really depends on the desired outcome. I consider myself to be a very advanced, well-established internet marketer. And what I always go back to is the fundamentals, or because I'm obsessed with things like running ads personally, which might not be the best use of time, by the way, but I teach this stuff, so I want to know how to do it, or heavy tactical stuff on how to do Google display. Like I spent 2 hours on Zoom with Justin Brook today, brilliant guy, nicest dude ever, like such a generous man. So I spent that time, but if you're looking for some whiz bang complicated thing, I don't want to sell you one, because probably, and if you're like most clients I've ever had that are well established and very successful, probably the bottleneck is that you've done something that worked really, really well, and then your brain, which is like mine and all other successful entrepreneurs, is like, okay, we solved that problem. Let's do something else because this is no longer stimulating. And so now it's like, let me try this other thing, this other thing, this other thing. So anytime I get one of you well-established, super successful folks, what'll happen is I'll say, okay, what are you looking to accomplish? And you'll say, I want to make more revenue. And I'll say, okay, cool. Show me how all the business works. And you will. And then I'll say, okay, show me all the systems and processes, and you will. And I'll say, okay, what was your best month? And you'll say, it was this one. And I'll say, what were you selling? And you'll say, that. And I'll say, how were you selling it? And you'll say, well, here was the promotion. And I'll go, run that promotion again and automate it. That's it. That's the whole freaking thing, 90% of the time. People pay a lot of money to hear that because they're too busy being advanced and running the business. And I know, man, I mean, running a freaking business is no joke. Right? But it's usually less. Less is more. Find the one thing that's working and do a whole lot more of that. There's a reason I'm going live a whole lot more, because I went and I was like, man, back when I went live a lot, I sure did make a lot of money. Maybe I should do that some more. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's see here. Right. Will Cowan says, do I still think Mass Control is my best course ever? Man, I don't know, dude. It really depends on the context of what somebody wants to accomplish. I think some of the best work is really in the intent-based branding material, for sure. And I think the more recent stuff, which is really only relevant for very tactical people in terms of running ads and scaling ad campaigns, I think that's very, very good. But again, that's not suitable for everybody. Some people would hate that, So I don't know. I really like the course. I'm very proud of it. It helped a lot of people. But there's so many other things to discuss. I'm not quite sure. I would say that's the one. Depends on what people want to accomplish, Okay. This is a good question. Ken is asking if I could have the Wu-Tang Clan release a new album. I wish I could. I don't know those guys personally. If I knew the Wu-Tang Clan personally, I would probably be dead because I would party so hard. Even if they don't party anymore, I would convince them to start partying again just because it would be awesome, and that'd be the end of me. All right. Oh, this is a great question. Okay, so Jacob Mears says, how can I build clientele for my wife's salon targeting a 50-mile radius? Dude, this fits in perfectly with the earlier question of what would you do if you lost everything and only had 10 grand and had to start all over? I would service guys like, that sounds a little bit funny. I would service guys like Jacob. I would service businesses like the one Jacob is referencing is probably a better way to put that. So dude, here's what you do. All right. Make a lot of videos that are like commercials. Don't make them professional looking. So I've tested this, all right? It needs to be just like normal shot on the phone on a GoPro or whatever. And let's say that, the salon is called Mrs. Mears House of Hair. All right, hey man, this is Mrs. Mears over here, Mrs. Mears House of Hair, and what we do every Tuesday is we have like I don't know, special hair dyeing discount. And look, here's Jamie, and she just got her hair did and whatever. And y'all come on in, and this is what it's like. And make like 1 billion of those, and show them on social to the target demographic. And you can do this like so great, So like, those would be considered general ads. All right. So I'd run those to, let's say that your wife's ideal client is a woman who's between the ages of 20 and 38. I'm making it up, And so just run those women 20 and 38. I wouldn't do a 50-mile radius of the salon unless people like habitually drive 50 miles to go get their hair did. Man, I ain't going to. I tell you that. But you never know. Women are different than us. Like, I'll go months and just be like, okay, I'm finally going to get it cut because my wife doesn't talk to me. Right? So I'd probably do 10 miles max, but you know better than me with that. So that'd be one. And then you can target on things like life events. So getting married is one. Getting ready for the big day, come and let us do a bridal makeover for you. In a new relationship is another life event. Like, go into Facebook and look at your targeting options. There's all these life events you could make ads for. The reason I suggest this, you set it to video views objective, not conversion, nothing. Just tell them the name of the business and where it is. That's it. You're not trying to get clicks or anything. This is television on the phone. The reason I'm suggesting it is because it'll probably cost you like a dime to get someone to watch that whole commercial if the commercial is like a minute. Like, that's ridiculous because you've got a targeted individual watching that commercial, and it's just frequency. It's a frequency play. It's unlikely you could spend more than $3 or $4 grand a month on ads. I don't think you could with that. Like, you would just blow out all the inventory, and the salon would be overbooked at that stage. So that's what I would do, and I'd have a little patience. It probably wouldn't work in the first week. You need about 2 weeks for it to run, and the only way to track it is redneck analytics, which you just keep track of how many calls you got and how many people come in and how many appointments. And you're like, well, I got less appointments before we started doing this, and I got more now that we're doing it. I'm going to keep on doing it. And that's like the best way to track it. Learned all of this by running ads for a furniture store, by the way. Cannot believe how well it worked. Love the dude. Rob Foubert, my man, coolest guy ever. And I'm glad he's doing such good business, and it's really all him. It's not really... I can't really take much credit for that. Okay, here's one. Biago Triasi. Hey, Frank, the career executive coaching space is booming right now due to the global pandemic, economic fallout. What would my very top strategy be, I think, to capture more engagements? All right, so like I have a framework for writing stuff to get people's attention that works really, really well, and it's really fundamental. I don't know what their objective is that they want, like the client, right? And so let's say it's to be a better leader. So let's say the person that you want to coach is the one, their main thing they want help with is being a better leader. I have no idea what it is. I'm just making it up, all right? But I would create an on-demand class, like a webinar or something, and my headline for the ad would say, watch this if you're an executive who wants to be a better leader. Then there'd be a picture, and I'd just take random pictures. You never know what's going to work. And then the body copy under the picture would say, new on-demand class reveals 7 ways to be a better leader. No kidding. I always start with ads like that. And a lot of times they kind of stay like that because they work pretty good. So that's what I do. And then, of course, I do a lot of stuff like this. Put out as much content as possible about how they get what they want. If you guys have seen any of the 3-story system stuff that I published and have promoted, not a whole lot, but should promote it more. It's really, really good. There's only 3 ingredients to anything we ever talk about. And those 3 ingredients are them, what they want, and how they get it. So if there's ever a question of engagement, like what do I say to get engagement? What do I say to get attention? What do I say to build trust? There's basically 3 types of stories. And the one that gets the engagement is something called an interest story, which talks about them and what they want. That grabs their attention. And the one that draws them in we call it a demonstration story. And that's mostly about how they get it. So that's it. We're always talking about them. what they want, how they get it, and what happens next. I got my stories out of line. It's what they want, how they get it, and what happens next. Those are your three components. All right, what happens next being, here's what life is like after you get the result that you want. That's it. Those are the only three things. Okay, let's see here. This is my man Alex Moss. Been following you since 2005. Don't even know what happened in 2005. Just want to shout out, I attribute a part of my success in my SaaS company to paying attention to your advice and info over the years. My man, and look at Alex with a little baby girl. I got one of those myself. I got three baby girls, but one of them's 18, the other's 15, and the other's, man, she's 8. No, she's not. What am I saying? She's 6. So that's when you know you got a lot of kids. You get their names confused. Hopefully they won't watch this, okay? All right. Let's see. This is interesting. Roberta says, I'm starting a TV show on Voovies, and I want to scale it online. What's a few steps I can take to do that? I don't know. I don't know what Voovies is. Now I feel like I'm left out. I'm not going to look at it, though, at Voovies, because then I'll go down this freaking rabbit hole and I won't get any work done. Let's pretend you got a record coming out, and it's an album and you want downloads or a podcast or something. I would do click campaigns to, like, no shit, just get clicks to the site that's got the stuff on it by showing previews of the content. So, man, I really don't want to do this, but if I had a musician that was a client that wanted to sell a lot of records, easiest thing in the world would be to run video ads for them that was the music video, and then with links where they could either go to Spotify or go to iTunes or whatever the thing is, and just drive them there, and let the branding take care of the rest, because it's so cheap right now. That's the trick. It's so freaking cheap to get exposure right now. It's unbelievable. I'll tell you who does really, really a great job at this. I don't think he runs ads, though, is the rapper Riff Raff. You should follow him on Instagram. He's hilarious. It's Jody High Roller. I'm a huge fan personally, but he's like strong like bull when it comes to doing this with organic. And man, if I knew him, I'd be like, dude, just spend a couple grand a month on this and things are going to explode, But I'd do that. Model Riff Raff, basically, is what I'm telling you. Not necessarily the style, of course, but the what he's doing. Okay, let's see here. Ryan Moody says, what kind of brandy do I recommend for eggnog? I don't know. I've never paid attention. I'm not a brandy drinker. I mean, I would. I'm not above it. If there were someone in front of me, I would drink it immediately. But I don't know anything about brandy. Ooh, eggnog sounds good, though. Man, that sounds great. All right, let's see here. Oh, good Lord, y'all. All right, I got to go. Okay. Weird questions about why is the FDA suppressing APA something, the cure for COVID? Dude, I have no idea. I do suspect shenanigans somewhere with that situation, though. Shenanigans. Okay, I'm going to end on that. A public declaration of shenanigans. But I don't know on who and what the exact shenanigans are, but I'm pretty sure there's shenanigans going on somewhere with all this COVID business. I just don't know what it is. But shenanigans. Okay, y'all take it easy. Never can remember how to turn off the damn thing. Hang on. Oh, there it is. Okay. Ha! Now I'll press the finish button. See you.